NorCal, 209 King of Comedy. It's Rick without the K. James presents In My Opinion Podcast. My Opinion Podcast. I've got a hometown own. We grew up in the same town, didn't know we did. So heard him last night. And we're out here, as you can see, we're in a hotel room because I'm trying to do two things at once, like usual, and do this podcasting shit. And he was on the comedy competition here in Carson City, Nevada. So I just heard you talking about El Paso, and it just brought up so many things where I was like, man, I gotta have this dude on In My Opinion, because I know Kabir's trying to do his podcast whenever the fuck his lazy ass is gonna get up and do that. So, but I was like, oh, let me reach out to. If you guys don't know this comic, it's Adam Dominguez from El Paso, Texas. That's my hometown. And, I get a lot of shit from comics that are from El Paso. They're like, oh, you're not really from El Paso. I'm like, look, there wouldn't be a fucking mountain and a star on my arm if I wasn't. So I said I was born in Texas, but I was raised in Cali. So where I think I have like the best of both worlds. You know what I mean? I got to leave. You just asked right before we started the podcast. You said, when did I move out of Texas? And I said, man, I'm a military brat. I've lived all over. Yeah. And I said, but I got the benefit of leaving when I was 12. I'm 40, gonna be 42, so fucking 30 years ago. But I go back. I just recently went back in March and did the comic strip over there. And I like going when I can go because it's a free fucking trip. I get to visit family. My whole family lives there. My brother's an attorney in town, so if anything ever pops off, you need help.
Well, let's see what pops off first before you start promising that shit.
You don't know you don't know how many comics are like, hey, wait, you got a brother in El Paso? Like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh shit. And I'm like, just give him a call. He'll let you know.
I think that's what happens in El Paso is that you wind up having the same amount of friends on both sides of the law, right? You're like, yo, no, I got a guy who will sell us the stuff, and I also got a guy who will bust us for the stuff we just bought.
So. And that's El Paso, man. So when did you move out of El Paso?
It will be 3 years, actually, in a few weeks. I'm kind of back and forth. I spent most of my time in El Paso. Then I had left. Lived in Austin for a little while, lived in Arlington with the Next for a little while, but I always came back, And
where are you living now?
Now I'm in Las Vegas, so okay. That's kind of...
So you went from one desert to another fucking desert.
You know what's weird is that I get over there, and then you'll find those weird complaints of all like, man, it's hot. It's not like El Paso hot. And then it gets hotter, and I'm all like, man, it's cooler in El Paso. 'Cause that's the only thing I got to compare it to,
But they get flash flooding and all that dumb shit too, right, in Vegas. So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I just saw something on the news. So, but, fuck, if I had to pick a desert town and it was one of those two, it'd definitely be Vegas.
Yeah, so. Yeah. There's something about like, oh, man, I'm trapped inside this bar for the next 8 hours in the middle of the night because it's storming outside.
Now, have you taken any comics from Vegas to El Paso? And been like, hey man, let me show you my hometown.
Yeah, I've done it a lot back and forth. It was originally when I was in El Paso, I used to feature for this magician for like a really, really long ass time, right? Which sucks. Like innately, like I love the dude, but it sucks. But it took like people bringing me places to like get out of that shadow because nobody remembers the fucking comedian who went up before a goddamn magician.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That dude just came out there and like fucking like this dude just made a drink out of like thin air, and then everyone was all like, "Oh yeah, but we don't remember what the first guy said."
What's his name? Omar?
Just Jibs.
Omar the Great?
No, not Omar the Great. No, Omar the Great. Yeah, Gibran the Comedian, and cool dude, love the guy. But because of that, like I started taking people out over there and back and forth. So the last run I did a couple secret shows in El Paso. Of which we sold out all of those, and I had taken a couple of the younger cats, like a younger guy from Vegas, this guy named Johnny Castillo came with me. On my next run, I'm looking at bringing this new guy, Jimmy McMurrin, who's absolutely a fucking monster on stage, and he's young. So I'm planning on bringing them, and then
And how long have you been doing comedy?
This will be 10 years. This will also be 10 years.
I know Tom Baum from
Yeah.
Vegas goes out there sometimes from time to time to El Paso. But I asked the question because I want to say there was I went this year, and then I hadn't been there. I was there probably 6 months prior, but before that I hadn't been home in 4 years. And then before that, I don't think I've been home for 5-6 years. So there's always like this big fucking time span that I'll usually won't go home. But I went there, I want to say about 6 years ago when I got divorced. Me and a friend took a road trip, and we started in Laughlin, Nevada.
No.
And we went to go bullshit. Then I met up with a female in Phoenix. And we had so much fun that we was like, fuck it, let's go to El Paso. And we went to El Paso, and it's just a different world. So that's kind of the reason why I wanted you on the podcast, because it just is painted differently, where it's good, bad, and like, I don't know. I tell people, first off, if you don't, like, I moved back after my divorce. And my dad was like, oh, you're a nurse, you're going to find a job, you're going to do fine. Yeah. But I had to remind my dad, I don't speak Spanish. Oh, yeah. Had a fucking horrible time. It was 5 months, and I said, I'm moving back, Dad. I can't do this. And he goes, well, I never have a problem. I said, because you speak Spanish. And I was all...
El Paso's like that.
I feel like El Paso is stuck 20 years in the past, too.
It's weird. Okay, I want to say 20 years. I'm going to say a little less, but they are definitely stuck in the past. It is definitely... what was it? It was a concert that sold out because Ja Rule had shown up. Right, like a couple of years ago, like before I moved out, and they're like, "This Ja Rule concert sold out," and I was all like, "The fuck is this? Like 2004? What the fuck is?" It was, okay, not disrespecting, but just like yeah, you guys are all going crazy with this shit. Yeah.
I love Ja, but yeah, I think it's that mentality where my cousin used to work for Power 102.
Yeah.
So he was, like, it hit him hard when DMX died, because he goes, man, I remember when we had him down at the Power Jam. My cousin used to be the driver for Power 102 over there. So he was like, dude, like, X was just, he goes, that's the way you heard him on the album was the way he was in life. He was like, he just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. It's that's the weird part about El Paso, is that El Paso is its own. I know everyone's going to wind up saying this about their own hometowns, wherever they're from, right? It's its own little world, it's its own little globe. But you got to understand, when it comes to El Paso and like even Las Cruces to an extent, right? That there's nothing around it. There's no other big cities that influence it.
There's another, and mind you, if people don't know, let them know. I tell them, because I got in my car accident right as I was entering New Mexico on I-10.
Okay.
Like, literally, there's a turn, probably a 2-mile marker in New Mexico on the way to El Paso.
Yeah.
Because I was leaving Vegas and we were going home to visit family, and my car turned over. And everybody's like, well, what happened? And I was like, well, I'm sitting there with my head fucking, my scalp hanging off my head and shit. And I go, I realized I was 2.5 hours away from civilization at that point. I was on Tucson's that way, and another 2.5 hours that way. I was I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
So I remember that night as like Photoshops, just pictures of the night, because I was going in and out of consciousness. But, El Paso itself, Tucson's about 4 hours away, and then the other way, what is it, Midland maybe? 6 hours?
Pecos is 3, yeah, Midland, Odessa is about, a little over 4.
And then
after that, you're going to go
Albuquerque,
Antonio.
Or maybe fucking Albuquerque, right?
Going
another
up.
4 hours. So yeah, El Paso's just, and mind you, it's right on the border too. So I tell people, like, Spanish, that's the only place, like, you get shit. I just had this conversation earlier with 2 other comics doing the podcast, and I told them, I said, when I went back to do high school, I went to Coronado, and then I got kicked out for fighting, and then I went to El Paso and got kicked out for other shit, right? And I said, but every time I went to a different high school, I always fought more Latin people because I didn't speak Spanish.
Oh yeah.
So, do you speak Spanish?
Barely. I learned to kind of like float above that shit, because I you know what I had the mom who worked inside the attendance office.
Oh, okay.
So it became like that overbearing. Oh, this is the sheltered kid.
What side of El Paso did you grow up on?
So I grew up in the Lower Valley.
Okay.
Right. I went to Riverside High School. Graduated '03 barely. And here's when I say barely, 'cause I was a truancy kid. I was a kid who just never showed up. I was the kid who, glowing record all the way through. I was a drummer. I was doing all these fucking honors classes, but I stopped showing up because people introduced me to Juarez. and he started.
That's when the borders were open, people. You don't understand. In high school, I don't know how old you are, but I'm about to hit 42, right? And you would just walk over as a high schooler and just fucking go party and get blasted.
I'm,
right?
30, I'm 36, right? And it was one of those, you showed up Thursday, drinking drowns, right? $10 at Derby or Pockets or Ajua, Riva, Chamucos, whatever. You went over there, you paid your $10, you drank as much as you wanted, and then you still showed up to class the next day at on Friday, and everyone's just fucked up,
Yeah. So, like I said, when me and my friend went down there, it was funny because I like to show people like the little gems that are hidden that really aren't that hidden. So like, I took them to a strip club and shit. I took them to Jaguars, and then I took them to what the fuck is that off of Discount, off of Viscount or. What is it?
Foxys?
Foxys, I think, yeah. So I took him to Foxys, right? And I told him, I said, man, this isn't California. I was you about to see a difference. I think I took him on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, which is
right.
You did him dirty, bro.
But we got there during the week because we spent the weekend in Phoenix, right? Yeah. So we got there during the week. But I told him, I said, man, our $50 in ones is gonna make us look like ballers, bro. I was because one, they have dollar lap dances, and my friend's like, no, they don't. And I said, no, like you give them two, and you can get a tick, you can like them, like strippers. I don't even know why they call them strippers in that town, right?
See that for those who are listening, to give you guys an idea what Foxy's is now. Now it's closed.
Oh, okay,
yeah, it's out of business, but. Foxy's was behind like a Food City, which is like the super discount like grocery store, and then next to a Dollar General, right? It's in like catty corner between like all that shit, right? Did you ever go to a harem, naked harem in the valley?
Yeah, in the I used to know one of the strippers that worked there because. Yeah, and I heard it was even worse, right? I used to. I was dating her friend or whatever too, so yeah, it was. I heard like they were always there for plumbing because condoms got stuck in the plumbing, so they were always there. Shit, like, and then I heard they did some kind of big ass bus there.
So
and that's why
they used to have a weird shuttle that would take you because this is off of Alameda, which is still Lower Valley, but from there you can get to like downtown. It's not that far to hop another bus. So they would kind of shuttle you into the parking lot, right? And they're like, look, you're here now. You can go wherever it is you want to go. You want to hang out in Segundo Barrio and you want to hang and go to these other bars. Or, pues, you're here. And might as well. We've got dollar lap dances in here. And so you catch all these like old señores who are just all like, pues, I get a beer. Like just like, and that was the first strip club I ever went to. Ever, and that was the one where same thing where you talk about speaking Spanish. All the girls there spoke Spanish, and I at that time I knew very very little. Right, I had just turned 18. I remember when I went over there, the lady at the front was all like, "Okay, it's a $10 cover, but if you're planning on drinking, it's $20." And then we were like, "Well, we're not of age." I'm open and honest about it. Like, "Hey, I'm not of age," right? And they're like, "Just give me 20." So me and my buddy gave her $20, and then they gave us this piss warm Coors Light, which was bottomless. They just kept fucking filling it up.
And let me say this too, because I was hoping you was gonna get there. Right? Yeah. It's sorry that I'm cutting you off, but there's so much to talk about in El Paso, and we got to go to the competition a little bit to see how the next round goes. But so I take my friend there, and I'm like, look, dollar lap dances are truly a fucking dollar. I know, I want to say that again. I know you guys think I'm bullshit. Unless they've changed, right? Because this was 5-6 years ago. But a dollar lap dance, and mind you, it's maybe only a minute or two tops, but still, it's a fucking dollar, right? There's no other strip club you could do that. And they are happy to get $1. So there's that. There's the fact that it's BYOB. And each person is allowed to bring their own fifth for themselves. So El Paso's already known for being fucking alcoholic, being an alcoholic if you live there, and it just gets worse in that city because even though it's somewhat of a dry county, right? Because like on Sunday it's Texas, so you can't order but beer and before noon or some stupid shit. I don't even know what it is.
I think it's after noon. I mean, all bars are open, but if they serve food, they'll allow you to drink earlier. So a lot of the places started, and I shit you not, shout out to Jack's Beach House and Vero and Vero's mom. They started making like pozole, right, at the morning, so people can go and start drinking like at 10. Right, because it counted, like it worked, you know. So people would show up, and
so you're eating for your hangover, and then
you're
getting your next hangover,
and they would just play NFL games all over the place, and people just fucked up by like noon, you know.
And I want to say per capita, I would have to check the numbers, but DUIs have to be at a higher rate in El Paso than anywhere else in the country because these motherfuckers drink. So to the strip club point, man. So I take them, and I probably take 150 in ones. Yeah. But I told them, I said, watch this. I said, you want to become popular? And I took the first 50, and I walked by the stage, and I just said, wow. And you just see ones flying, which here in California, $50, everybody's like, that's all you got, $50, you're broke, right? But in Texas, man, we were the biggest ballers. We had bitches around us all night. Like, and I was like, hey, man, which one do you want to talk to? Which one do you? And as soon as one of them left, the next one would, because I came in there with a little bit of money that night. So, my half brother came, and his broke ass never has money. So I was like, hey, man, can you get this man a lap dance $40? And he's like, I think it's 60 if you know what I mean.
It's weird because like they all like respectfully do it, but at the same time, because, and I'm not trying to get all crazy, all political and shit, but because the job market's so shitty there, right? It was weird. It wasn't strange to like walk into a strip club and then you knew people, like the girls that you used to go to high school with, or just like, oh, hey, that's Carla. What's up? Hey, Carla. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'll just go sit over there and then I'll send some girls to you. Like they wouldn't dance for you. They'd send other people, right? It's just
because I feel like even where I live, I want to say, and I was trying to think why you were saying that is some of the hottest girls aren't necessarily the strippers out here in California. It's normally the hostess, the one that wants to come by and sell you the beer or your liquor or whatever out here. Those are the hotter girls, and you look at them out here and you're like, damn, I wish she stripped. But of course, that's their business model. Yeah. Where out in El Paso, I don't think there was a differentiation. Between
they rotated, and it was always like it was like somebody's
bitch, you're stripping on Tuesday. I'm serving on Wednesday.
And like, hey, my legs are tired. Can you just fucking? It'd be like somebody's tia working the front, and she's just there and being like, hi, oh hey, pues, she's over there. She's on that number 4. Hey, take care of her. She's going through some shit, And you're just like, oh, okay, all right. Like, it strip clubs became so weird in El Paso because even the names of it, like you had Foxys, Naked Harem, you had Red Parrot, right on the outskirts. Machiavelli's, if you ever went to that one, it's turned into West Side Showplace, right? Zebras, fuck, like
what was Zebras?
That was right outside of Sunland Park.
Okay.
Yeah, I was heading out.
I remember Machiavelli, man, because my first job ever was that Jack in the Crack on like
Mesa.
Mesa and Executive area, and. And I tell my son, because my son would tell me, well, they overworked me. And I said, man, I was a junior in high school working 40 hours graveyard shift, motherfucker. Like, they had no labor laws, all right? Nope. God damn it. So, and I worked there. So when I would work graveyard, the strippers would come after their shift. And I would just be like, oh, my goodness. And I remember I slipped my number in one of their bags. The next night, same truck pulls through. I'm getting all excited. And instead, it was her man in the driver's seat. And he goes, here, I think you left this in my lady's bag. And I was like, so I take it she's not going to call? Because I was a fucking kid, right? So I don't give a shit. Like, I'm like, what you going to do? Beat me up? I'm a minor, stupid. Like,
come over here. I will withhold this egg roll. You bitch.
Boy, Charlie Murphy, my main man, Ric James. That's the one you think, the comedian Ric James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying, I can't breathe.
Please hit the subscribe button down low so you can see all new clips, all new episodes coming to you.